Good day. This is, well, got the idea from Felix Russo at the Low Power Lab. He makes an interesting set of products he calls the Motino, and he's written some software that he runs on a Raspberry Pi, and he calls it his gateway for his home automation. This will be my version. I'll call it my home automation hub. Basically, I've started dabbling in some solar power. I have a quick video I'll probably have posted before this one, and so that's where these leads will go, is to a connection to another one of these terminal blocks for distributing the 12 volts, which varies anywhere from 12 volts to 14 volts from my batteries. So that comes into my little terminal block here. Then comes into this little buck converter, so via switch, so I can switch it on or off. And then out comes my 5 volts. I've created a little lead to plug in the power to my Raspberry Pi. And on the 12 volt side, I've run a couple wires to my little breadboard here, putting a resistor divider in there, which I will then be reading so I can monitor the voltage on my batteries. Now, the other thing that I'm doing right now with a different Raspberry Pi, but we'll be switching shortly to this one, is I have a number of DS18B20 temperature sensors. So this one I've wired into the board and currently goes to one just hanging in my workspace here. I'm actually going to mount the sensor close to the batteries for monitoring the battery power. I have a couple of external ones. Right now I have one mounted on the shady side of the house to get sort of an outside temperature. When I put my solar panels in, I strung a cable with the cables to bring the power from the solar panel. I put in a piece of Cat5 cable and installed a DS18B20 out there, so I will be plugging that in here when I mount it on the wall. So I'll actually have 3 of these temperature sensors hooked to my Raspberry Pi. Now I need to go 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1. The other thing I'm going to mount on here is, let's see if I get that on there correctly. This is by Alex Eames. It's a Raspberry Arduino, I think he calls it. And I'm going to mount it on here so that I will wire it into my voltage divider for monitoring the temperature. And these basically end up being a pass-through of the pass-through of the, oh, they're not. Okay, I'll have to work the pins out later. I thought I had my GPIO pins being passed through. They are run to some of them, the GPIO pins are run through to here, so I'll be able to communicate with this over, what is it, I don't know whether it's SPI or I2C, but there's a communications protocol, and I'll get the software communicating between the Raspberry Pi and the Arduino for measuring the voltage and potentially other analog sensors. I will wire these in here so that I can then monitor the temperature sensors, and this will become the hub of my home automation system. I'm going to mount it on the wall with my other solar panel devices. I have a charge controller, a breaker box, and a small inverter. And then this will be permanently mounted. I will have a Ethernet cable plugged into it, so it'll be part of my network, and then I can start dabbling in software. I've built a number of projects, as you can see from my YouTube videos, where I start doing the hardware and I kind of get hung up when it comes to writing the software. So I will have to start sitting down and doing more software work. I don't know whether that would make nice videos of me just learning to program, but let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.